Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to a new episode of Words of Wellness. My name is Yassir Al-Manawi and I'm your host. Today we're going to be talking about something that pertains to a lot of us, not all of us, but I think it's an important issue. We alluded to it once before in one of the previous episodes, and that was greed. We didn't talk about it, we just mentioned the name. So we're going to talk about greed. Let me first read the surah and the ayah from the Quran, and then we're going to talk about the psychological aspects of greed and how does it affect us all the way around. So let's see. It is Surah Al-Isra, ayah number 29. And do not make your hand chained to your neck or extend it completely and become blamed for insolvent. I would actually listen to this or read it, and I would just take a minute there and think about what does it mean? Does it mean I'm going to choke myself? No. Does it mean that I'm going to just like extend it until my ribs are broken? No. Let's see. In psychology, what we talk about regarding this issue is that greed is one of the 7 deadly sins. What does that mean? It's a lot of people have different types of love. People have love for nature, people have love for the family, people have love for food, some people have love for money, collecting money and gathering money. You might come and tell me, well, everybody does that. Well, yeah, everybody works because money is very important. It's not the top of priority, but it is very important, yes, because we have to live. But when it comes to greed, then we're talking about a total different issue. Greed is when somebody works and they collect money and they hoard money and they just would like to watch it, racking it up in the bank or in a wall or anywhere. They hide it. They do not spend it. That's a very bad quality, if I should say. It's an emotional imbalance. Some people will tell you, well, it gives me security. I actually had some patients that will come and tell me, well, money, when I work and I make money and I collect it and I do not spend it, it gives me a sense of security. And there are a lot of people who have a whole lot of money, millionaires and billionaires, and they do not spend their money on themselves or on their loved ones or on their families. And there is a lot of psychological effects to that. There is a lot of psychological aspects to that. This type of personality that likes to hoard money is usually insecure, or could be insecure. I'm not going to say usually, I'm going to say it could be insecure. At the same time, it's not liked by others. Why? Because it's a horrible habit to hoard money. People don't want to be with someone who just not going to spend anything. It's usually a taker, not a giver. There is 2 types of personality. One is a giver and one is a taker. And one is a giver and taker, and that's the best kind, is the one that interact with the society. I give and take, reciprocate in any relationship. And that's what we're aiming for. But somebody who does that is somebody who's actually not even taking care of their basic needs. So you need to watch out for that, because you see, even in the ayah when we talked about it, it talked about chained to your neck. Chained. It comes from a chain. It's not only that your hands are very close to your neck and you're very tight and misery. No, it's almost like a chain. When I take a look at this, and it's actually, we use that expression a lot. It's almost like you're not free. You made yourself a slave to what? You made yourself a slave to the money. It's a form of addiction. People get addicted to anything. And this is a form of the addiction. Being addicted to hoarding money. That's the only thing that people, this type of people, gain uh, pleasure from. They don't gain pleasure from anything else. They don't gain pleasure from being with their kids. They don't gain pleasure from being with their family. They don't gain pleasure from spending money. As a matter of fact, it hurts them to spend the money, or it hurts them to see somebody else spending the money that could be put away. So you find them with no relationships. They look at any relationship as if it's a competition between the money and the relationship. So a lot of times they have failed relationship. If they were in a relationship, it fails. Why? Because of this habit. Nobody would ever want to live with somebody who is misery or hoarding money. Let's see. How does that work in life? If somebody comes in the clinic or in the office and they would say, well, okay, it gives me a sense of security. What we do is cognitive therapy. Cognitive therapy basically is a challenge in their thoughts, because if you take a look at somebody who has this greed problem, their thoughts are basically irrational, but they believe it. They find 1,000,001 reason to believe their own thoughts that this money is a sense of security for them and they cannot spend it. No matter what you say to them, that you could tell them, well, okay, you are supposed to live your life, you are supposed to spend and enjoy the money that you're making, you don't have to spend it all, but you can spend some. They actually say no. I have a lot of funny stories about that, and I'm going to relate one to you. And this was an individual who came to the office, and he was talking about, well, he doesn't eat lunch or drink anything like soda or any juice or anything like that. And when I asked him why, he said, well, what's the use? If I eat it, it's just somebody else could treat me to it, and I don't need to do that. So if you take a look at this personality, he ended up with a lot of problems. What are the problems? Is that his friends, they did that with him once and twice, and the first thing, they started making fun of him, which reduced his self-esteem. His appearance was not, he was not taking care of himself. He didn't buy any new clothes or anything, so he didn't take care of himself. So they made fun of that too. He started isolating. People veered away from him, steered away from him. They didn't stay with him. He felt that he's unliked by other people. So that actually caused him a lot of emotional problems. And that's what brought him into therapy, because he didn't know what was wrong. All of that, and he didn't know what was wrong. And you know what? Even though he realized all of this, what happened is that he was arguing. He would come and argue that he cannot spend the money. So this is an issue that you need to pay attention to. The only way to get out of this is to start baby steps, doing it baby steps. If you don't spend any money, make it a point. You go out every day and you spend a little bit of money. I'm not saying to spend it all. You spend a little bit of money. And you spend a little bit of money on things that you need. And then after that, you graduate yourself to things that you actually want. So you need to take the baby steps to get out of the predicament that you're in. And inshallah, this might be helpful. I hope that you pay attention to it. And again, I'll leave you with these words, and we'll meet in the next episode of Words of Wellness. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.